So in this class, I will be writing the code for the agent class for our adder design. And agent is a is upper in hierarchy as compared to the other class which we have created in our previous videos. And agent will have driver, sequencer, and even monitor. So there could be multiple agents inside UVM inside an UVM environment, and those multiple agents could have their own copy of sequencer, driver, and monitor. So let's begin. So should extend UVM agent, and first we will do the factory registration. Then we will begin with the constructor. Oh, before constructor, we have to we will just create the handles for the different classes which will be inside the agent. So the first class will be the driver, and I will name the handle as D. And the second class will be the monitor, and I will name the handle as M. And the third class should be sequencer. But remember, we did not uh, specifically write any class code for the sequencer. So we will be directly creating the handle from the UVM libraries. And the reason I did not create separate code for sequencer because it is not required to be customized, or there is no requirement of adding any other specific things. Like in driver, we have to write the UVM configuration DB, and we also have to write the run phase in which we will be driving the data to the duty. And similarly in monitor, we will be writing the configuration DB, and also we will be collecting the response from the duty. But in sequencer, you don't have to write any such thing. So you could create a sequencer class if you want, but then you only have to write the constructor. So instead, I will just directly create the handle from the UVM libraries. So I will write UVM sequencer, and UVM sequencer has a parameter of transaction just like the driver and the sequence. And the transaction in our case was the sequence item. And then we will name the sequencer as seqr. Now we will begin with the constructor. And since this is also a component, there should be two formal arguments. And we will call the parents constructor. And then our constructor is finished. Now the only two other things we have to do inside the agent is to create the object of three of these classes, and that will be done in the build phase. And then later this will be our first time using the connection phase and connect phase, and in the connect phase we will be um, writing the connection between the sequencer and the driver. So first let's begin with the build phase. Now let's call the parents constructor. And let's pass the very same argument. Now we will create three objects using the create method. First I will do that for driver. And since driver, monitor, and UVM sequencer are components, we will write two arguments unlike transaction. The first argument should be the name, and the second argument should be the reference to the parent. And the parent is of course the agent or the object, not the parent or the object in which uh, the hierarchy which specifies that this object is created inside which class. Now we will do the same thing with monitor. Then finally we will do the same thing with the sequencer. And here we also have to write the parameter. And then after writing the parameter, we will do the same thing. Then we will name the sequencer as a string. Then this. So this is it. We are done with creating the objects of driver, monitor, and sequencer. And the next thing we will do is to establish the connection between the sequencer and the driver using the connect phase. And each phase has the same formal argument. So let's call the parents constructor. And then to establish connection between the driver and the sequencer, we have to use the implicit sequence item port. So as you remember that inside the driver we were using the sequence item port and sequence item port item done and sequence item port get next item. And similarly inside the sequencer the sequence item export is being used. So we will just establish a connection between the sequence item export of the sequencer and the sequence item port of the driver. So let's do it. So to do that, you just have to write the name of the handler of the driver, then sequence item port, And then you have to use the connect method. And inside the connect method, you have to mention the port with you are establishing the connection. So in our case, it should be the sequence item export of the sequencer. And you just don't have to write the sequencer class explicitly, and all of this is present inside the UVM libraries. So it is sequence item export. And thus, this should conclude the connection between the port of the driver and the export of the sequencer. So that's it for agent. It just have the instances of the driver, monitor, and the sequencer. And the build phase, you have to create the object for each three of them. And then in the connect phase, you have to establish the connection between the driver and the sequencer. So that's all. In the next video, I will be writing the code for the environment. Thank you.